Hey Dana,
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
What's going on?
Slow around here.
It's slow around there, is that what you just said?
Like the calls, the coaching calls.
Oh, I know. I haven't been able to hop on in a little bit. We were down in one of, at Sweet Memories, trying to think, a week or two ago, and then I missed it. So I don't know how crazy it's been or not been, but I guess not very active in here, huh?
Yeah, not super crazy. Kind
Okay.
of, natural. Last week for me, I just helped Steve with his VRBO, so not a
Uh-huh.
lot there. And I think the week prior was a holiday. So,
Oh, that's what it's right. It was President's Day. That's why there was no call. And that's why we were away because our kids had off for President's Day and then also for like a, a day or two beforehand. So we tried to take the long weekend and take advantage of it so they're not missing so much school. Not, I mean, our son's in preschool, but our daughter's in kindergarten or first grade now. So now they start like monitoring attendance more and stuff like that. So we wanted to be able to get down and see the property. And, when you go somewhere, then you're like, oh, we're going to enjoy ourselves and like do fun stuff. And it's like, no, we need a new light out here and this
oh
needs
yeah.
to get done. And we went with my parents and my in laws and we all stayed at the house. And, we spent one day of just doing stuff around the house. Some of the lights were flickering, so back and forth to Lowe's and Home Depot, and then we got to like enjoy ourselves a little bit, but not without activities and errands first. So
I've
it's
thought about that. You guys have been so sweet, and you say that I can go down to the property, and I'm
mhm.
like, as great as that sounds, I know that I would just be like stressed. Like
Yeah.
I would just be like there thinking about work the whole time and not know how to relax. So
It is. It's like, I mean, we go down there and it's just I don't know. We kind of like accounted for that and then we didn't have anything planned for the first day that we um had gotten there and had a we did like a dolphin like sunset boat ride that night. That way we let the day go and luckily between my mom and Frankie's mom, they stayed at the house with the kids and then we had two rental cars. So the dads and Frankie were doing the Lowe's run, and it was the same day that we had a turn at the Palm. So I had gone over there and was just checking in and touching base, and we were there when the cleaners were there, and then you start to notice things that aren't necessarily like a cleaning issue per se, but like scuff marks on the walls and stuff like that that looks banged up. And I'm like, okay, so I had a magic eraser and once you get started, then you just can't stop. And I'm going around the entire house, magic erasering all the walls and all the scuff marks off of them in the closets and in the hallway and whatever else. So I don't know. But
yeah, you see
overall,
it.
I mean, things are going well. I think Frankie touched base with you because we're trying to figure out about um I think maybe like if we look at, I think obviously Palms is you can have the like year over year numbers and that has gone up, which is a great thing. But I think even now we're getting to that point with like Sweet Memories. We've had a lot of bookings and I think the demand may be there. And I think we might, need to start creeping up um, our numbers on that too.
Yeah, yeah, he did just text the other day about that and asked, like, kind of just like validated, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. And I'm like, yep, I definitely agree on raising
Okay.
a little bit. And obviously, when you raise rates, it's never a lot, it's small bits at a time.
Incrementally, yeah.
It adds up.
So, no, it does. And I mean, we don't want to like price ourselves out and raise it too much and then not get any bookings, but our calendar, knock on wood, is pretty good. We had one person, I guess, it was the other day. I think it was Palm. It was at Sweet Memories, not at Palms, but they they said, "Oh, I mean, we put in the house rules or whatever," and I think we can send out messaging through Hospitable to have them uh show us proof of age or whatever, but they're like, "Oh, we're reading through things," and this is the second time now. At least people are like honest, where they're not technically 25. They were 23. Um, but Frankie and I talked and like we looked. I know you can't like you can never tell. It could be a group of a bunch of girls and they could be, you know, maniacs and destroy a house. But this was like five guys, four girls, and Frankie and I just got bad feelings. We're like, we're sorry. Like this happened one other time, but these kids were like 19 years old. I'm like, that's a hard pass for me because the legal drinking age isn't even. They don't even meet that criteria, and God forbid, they're there, they're drinking, and someone gets in an accident and they trace it back to them being at our house. Like, I do
Right.
not want that on me. So we are
Yeah.
both aligned with like under 21 is like a really hard pass. But
Gosh.
23 is like, yeah, we're like maybe whatever. But then we looked at it and we're like, I don't know. I think they're from somewhere. They were from somewhere else in Florida. And we're like, if you guys cancel on your end, you get a full refund. Like you can find another property that's better suited for your needs. And they canceled and it was fine. And then we had a strange inquiry the other day, and I think it was Palms. Where is it? We ultimately, um, hi, I will be visiting with my family. Are there any insurances or protections for guests who book? And it was like the whatever message, and then the pre-approval, and then Frankie said, "Hey there, I think you can take out insurance through Airbnb. Insurance to cover what exactly?" And then they said, just to provide against theft or break ins, also like protection in case anything goes wrong with the home. I don't want to travel with the family and find it's not what it's actually listed. And we don't have anywhere to stay. And then Frank and I were just like, this is sketchy. Like out of all this time, no one, I mean, I don't know.
That's
You
what,
probably,
that's what reviews are for, to verify that it is the property it is, you know?
yeah. And I was just like, that's weird. Like, it's not like this is a new listing and they just want to make sure. Like, we're a top 1%, almost like I think there's 70 something reviews on the Palms, all 5-star reviews. And you're asking that, like, I don't, are they like gonna say someone stole something from the house and they're the ones like taking it? Like, are we being, like, we were both very thrown off and we just said, based on the concerns discussed, we've withdrawn the pre approval as this property may not be the best fit for your needs. We wish you a smooth and enjoyable trip. Because I'm like, I don't think we want to be dealing with this. Like someone else will book that time. That we're not that hard up for a booking that we want to dabble with someone who's already setting the stage for, I don't know. I don't really know. It was just very bizarre to me. Like maybe you should stick to a hotel at that rate if you're concerned and you want, they can always provide another room or they have a big corporation behind it and you might feel most comfortable there. So we withdrew the pre-approval or decline. I don't know if we declined it or I don't remember how, whatever. I don't know what it said. And then it expired it anyway, and they didn't end up booking and we didn't hear anything more from them. So I don't know if we were just being like overly sensitive or what your reaction would be to that.
No, I agree because you're an established property. Like I think it's strange. Like two things. It's an established property, and I am seeing a lot, like it has become, I don't want to say common, but more than it used to be of people coming to property, making claims, about the property and getting a full refund
Hmm.
to leave.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
sort of both those things. If you were, and you're like, you have upper scale properties, you know?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I would have done the same thing. You are an
Okay.
established property. I think you have every right to do that. I don't. Um, I can definitely send you to what Airbnb they do have coverage for guests as well, like kind of how we have air cover, they have a coverage as well, as well
Uh-huh.
as I think the additional insurance is for their travel plans, like if they cancel their booking or something like that,
Yeah.
that insurance will cover that versus like Airbnb's air cover, which I don't know what it would be called on the host or on the guest side, but
Hmm.
the coverage that makes sure that they have a good stay pretty much, which is just Airbnb being the middleman in there. But
Yeah. I don't know. It was just very
yeah,
weird. And I was
I
like,
think that
I don't know. Craig and I were like, yeah, I don't think we need this all that bad. So we just said, you might be better suited for another property or something. And I feel like we are very attentive as host, and if there's something is missing or they need something, like I feel like we are pretty responsive. So for them, I don't know, like good luck. I think there's some people elsewhere who probably are not so receptive and responsive, but I don't know. They gave me a bad feeling, so I'm like, I don't need to be. We don't have to be bothered with this. So
perfectly okay. Yeah,
yeah, and someone else will book it and it'll be fine. But I don't know. I guess it's just trying to navigate some of those like trickier things. Like that was a weird thing that came up, but then also like, I don't know, the 23-year-old, like, do we let it go? Do we not? But it was also around a time where there was going to be, I think we had a booking right behind it. So I'm like, I don't know if they like damage things and then we don't have a like recovery reprieve time, that would be tough to
mm,
bounce back from too. So
yeah.
um
For
we
like
they
the season and it was September, October, or I'd be like, oh,
yeah,
maybe
the maybe, but
this is a great time of year. Like it'll get booked. You can be picked.
mhm, yeah. And then I think I don't know if Frankie reached out to you or if he just looked into like price labs. We have um my mother-in-law and father-in-law, friends of theirs actually. um One of the couples ended up staying when we had gone to Palms the last time we stayed at Palms. They were down there with us and they wanted to book for next March, which is obviously like a more prime time, um, whatever. But I think Frankie was going to book off platform because they're close, like family friends. And he was trying to figure out what pricing would be. And I think he ultimately like looked at it. He um save them a lot of money, but none of it's not on hospitable. We didn't do it through um Airbnb or anything like that. So whatever we um end up uh charging them, we get directly, in our pocket minus the cleaning cost. So I don't know. I think that that should be okay. I forget what the dollar amount was that he gave it to them for, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess on the bright side, it's people who we know and trust, and who it's like two couples in their 60s who are coming to like go to the beach. They're not gonna, destroy the property. Honestly, they would, I think, could give us good feedback if there's some issues with it, and help us out if there's any, concerns. So they're not, they're my in-laws, like some of their closest friends. So I think that we don't want to like upcharge them, but it's also like a peak time too. So it's navigating the friends and family side of things, and also still trying to optimize our income in these high months to offset when we may have slower months. But
Yeah.
um,
That's totally fine. I always tell Reiki this too, and on Hospitable, when you do those private bookings, you
mhm,
in their owner stays. And the only thing
uh-huh,
That just helps us keep the metrics in line. So when we go to look at
Okay.
what is your average daily rate throughout the year, what is your total revenue, instead of
Uh-huh.
missing, like thousands of dollars in that, it just helps us keep that accountable because you can export all the information. So it's just your
So in hospitable, we have to click under what? What do we have to do?
if you go into the calendar and you click the
Uh-huh.
days somebody is staying, you can
Hmm.
up on the right side, it'll say like add manual booking.
Hmm.
And then it'll give you the option between like, is this a direct stay? Is it an owner stay? And if it's an owner stay, it's basically you just like putting in there who's staying there and how much you're charging. That way,
Okay.
the metrics, yeah.
Okay. That way, if we're like giving, we're not like selling ourselves short of what we, should be because we had some close family member stay at the property is kind of what you're saying for that.
But yeah, it just helps keep the numbers in line.
Okay. All
Everything's
right.
accounted for. Yeah. So that way, like, when you're looking at total revenues in the year after that, you're not like, oh my gosh, like, why did we not get a booking this week? And we all
Yeah.
forgot maybe somebody stayed there. It just because with hospitable metrics, you can see every single booking, you can see all the charges, you can see everything, you can export it to align it with your bookkeeping outside of it, and just keeps all the records.
Thanks. Okay. All right. That's good to know that way. I mean, we've stayed, my in-laws have gone, they stayed at Palms for a week in January, and then we had almost a week at Sweet Memories that we were down there.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know.
And then it
I
also
don't know.
helps too. It helps me as well, like when this happens. I think for both of those events, it was like back in maybe October where I was like, what's going on for, we when things got worried about January that things were slow, but that
Mhm.
most important or January, February, whatever.
Yeah, at Palms, it was my in-laws stayed up there and they were there for like a full-on week that they were at Palms. Yeah.
Right. But it like made sense to why we weren't seeing bookings yet because that was the most in-demand week. So it's
Yeah,
just in there on Hospitable that I have the reference to understand why our numbers aren't tracking the way they normally would.
gotcha. Okay.
It helps
Yeah,
me keeping wise.
okay. Yeah, I don't think we have any other, sadly, or maybe not sadly, I don't know. There's no other trips that we have planned down there at this point, but it's trying to like navigate because I mean we like going there, but and I almost feel like we need to go there because then every time we're there, you always find stuff that you need to like fix and do. But we talked to our handyman, and I think I've spoken with Emily about this before about kind of having him come once a month or once every other month to kind of do inspection and inventory, um, and just like look at things. But he's more of a handyman, but I mean, I think part of it is like, okay, the throw pillows, for example, those are things that stay and don't get changed. Like the sheets with our cleaning company, they're new every time. So, like, obviously, they should be in good condition if they're coming and a guest is going to be coming after that. But, um, if the throw pillows, if there's a rip or a stain, like hopefully the cleaning company is letting us know some of these things, or screws that are loose in chairs that just need a little tightening. Because if we do preventative stuff, hopefully we prevent bigger broken pieces of furniture or issues like that. And I think it might be worth it, but it's like the cameras, or what do we have? Something with the Wi-Fi at Palms the other um week where they had to run a new wire and stuff like that. It's just like always always something. So I don't know. What do you normally do with your properties?
I don't go to my
Okay.
property. Um,
Well, obviously you have a little bit more of a hike than and more properties to
yes,
be
I
worried about.
really consider the cost of what it cost me to get there and then
Hmm.
what it costs me to not have reservations while I'm there.
Yeah,
Um, that almost
yeah,
always outweighs me just paying somebody else to do it.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
If I like hire, whether it's, there's a cleaning inspector and there's a handyman to inspect, and if I have to hire, I
Hmm.
don't hire a friend in the area or a realtor in the area or something like that, it'd still be cheaper than me going there.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, we try to time it with like a family trip and make the most of it and kind of do a little bit of both. Um, but at one point, Greg and I were like, well, maybe we just go down like, once a quarter for a weekend. But even still, it's like time off of work. We would go on a weekend because it's less time that we take off of work, but weekends are more in demand. So you lose that. Although we have so many like, um, well, I guess you would need access to the house because I was gonna say we could stay at a hotel. We have plenty of like points and nights to stay at a hotel, but that kind of defeats the purpose of having access to the property to do whatever we need. But
You can get there in the slow season, going
yeah.
through when I know it's not great, but
Hmm.
when you're not risking nights, that would be the best.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think what other things. The other thing I know I don't understand any of like numbers and math is not my strong suit. And I think it's different with arbitrage versus owning, but taxes and um, cost segregation studies and depreciation or whatever. He's like telling me all this stuff. And I don't know if our accountant did things properly last year. And now we're realizing it now with two properties this year and going through everything and things not being depreciated like they should or whatever, and like that it's a short-term rental and that there's better accelerated benefits or whatever. So I think I mean, the bad side is we have to do an amendum or addendum for our 2024 taxes. On the bright side, I think we're going to get a lot more money in refunds from our taxes because of these
Study.
miscalculations and things. However, whatever numbers our accountant put in was not proper, or they didn't accelerate things. I don't know. I'm like, just don't do anything illegal that I'm going to end up in jail because I would not do well in jail. But whatever numbers you like, you can handle that aspect of things because he does finance. He gets that kind of stuff. I have no freaking clue what he's talking about, but whatever it is, he kept saying like something isn't making sense. When I run the numbers on TurboTax, I keep getting higher numbers and it's different from what the accountant is telling me. And then I think he hopped on calls with people or I don't know what he ended up doing, but I don't know if you have any accountants that you would recommend who are more knowledgeable with short-term rentals. Um, I'm hesitant. We were in the other academy and I don't really always trust what they have to say. I don't think they give the best advice. I think it's more of a um, referral based money making scheme to get people, and whether or not they are truly good individuals to work with or not. I think they get a kickback for who they refer. So I rather talk to someone who I trust who may know versus like, oh, we're affiliated with this CPA and they'll do your um, taxes, but then they're pushing all of these students to go to these people and you become a number. And while they might know short-term rentals, I don't know. I think they just will push as many people as they can to get a kickback. So I don't know if you have any better or connections or advice that is based off of experience.
Nope. I use Prime for tax, not so much for their accounting because they just push you to um Insight, is it called? anyways. I believe it's Insight for like bookkeeping and stuff.
Insight.
But
Okay.
I learned that there's a big difference between a tax strategist and an accountant. And so I
Hmm.
had to like work more with a tax strategist at this point so that I had
Okay.
to tell my accountant because to find
Uh-huh.
someone that is experienced in short-term rentals is hard. And then to
Yeah.
a bookkeeper and then an accountant and then a tax strategist. All three of them to be experienced is hard.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I use
Or
Prime.
ones that work together, like, I don't know, I'm sure there's probably people who refer tax strategists who works with specific accountants or things like that. I mean, our accountant is someone who has done my dad's taxes forever and has done ours in turn. But, Frankie asked, are you familiar with short-term rentals or whatever? And I think cost segregation. And he said, yes, I have no idea what to base anything off of, but then looking at this year's numbers, I think it unearthed a lot. And then Frankie started questioning 2024, and now I think we need to refile, but hopefully everything goes through as it should, and then we can get some money back. But
Yeah.
uh, that's just been trying to navigate that. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll ask around in like this group of people and see if they have anyone that they would recommend. But I think a lot more of the people in here are arbitrage, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it's not the same exact
No,
scenario.
a lot less. A lot
Yeah,
less.
yeah. And then I think Frankie, I know you guys have been chatting and he's like, what about other markets and what do we think? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to do any more Bradenton. I'm done. I'm done with that. But I don't
Yeah.
know. Just
Call and look at some of the top markets for 2026.
what
So,
are some of them?
oh, I said we're gonna get on a call and look at them. That was the
Oh, awesome. Okay. Yeah. I don't I mean now well now we're kind of recouping some of the money that we spent on all of the two properties, but he talks about, oh, maybe we can get another like a house for this. And let's I'm like, we should get a house that we can also potentially rent out somewhere else. But I don't know. We went to Colorado when we were this past summer, and we stayed at a hotel in Denver just because we were trying to use up um, all the points we had from setting up Palms. We had to use in a year time frame to get our night stays at the Marriott, and I really liked Colorado. And I'm like, you should ask, like, I know a lot of the students I feel like are in those Denver, suburb